One of the local shops in my area was holding a back issue sale where they were selling all of their recent back issues for just 50 cents a piece. Today, I'm going to show you what I got. Check it out. Hey everyone, and welcome to today's video. As I'm filming this, we are wrapping up a nice long Thanksgiving Day weekend, which is also the kickoff to the Christmas season for us here. So I've got my coffee in my holiday themed mug using my Spider-Man and the Santa hat coaster. I hope that you all had a very enjoyable, relaxing Thanksgiving Day with family and or friends and got to enjoy some downtime, some good food, and maybe even some comic book sales. I know that Black Friday and that weekend around Thanksgiving is a very popular time for local stores to host various types of sales, and I hope you were able to enjoy some of those yourself. As for me, I was able to get out on two different occasions. Sorry, gonna ratchet the camera over there. That's my haul from the weekend. I was able to go out on Black Friday a little bit, and then again some today for a couple other sales, and I found some really cool things that I'm excited to show you in a future video. But I am curious as to what you all found. Were you able to get out to any sales at local stores in your area? I'd love to hear about it. Down in the comments, you can let me know if there's anything fun or exciting for you that you picked up. Or even better, I'd love it if you had a picture of your haul, if you'd send that to me. You can email that to me or message it to me somehow, but would love to see and or hear about your comic adventures over this Thanksgiving weekend. As for today, the books that you're going to see, though, this is our stack right here. These come from a sale hosted by a local store here in the Twin Cities. Actually, it's a chain of local stores here called Dreamer's Vault, and they were holding a 50-cent sale on their back issues. For those of you unfamiliar with Dreamer's Vault or who haven't heard me talk about it before, they are a chain, like I said. They primarily focus on games like tabletop games, role-playing games, competitive card games, and there's always something going on in their different store locations where people are playing Magic the Gathering or Pokemon or uh, any other that style of game or tabletop game, or they're painting figures, things like that. And I would say that's their primary business, and there are some locations that only have that type of business. There are a few though that also carry comic books. It's not a traditional comic book store, but they do have some. Primarily they're focused on new comic books, but they wind up having a modest back issue section because they need to make room for the newest issues as they come out. So as they get new comics, they will take the current issues that they have on their racks and move them over to their back issue bins. And on a regular day, so no sale included, those are already priced really well. They price those at half off cover price. And then when they do sales like this, the deals get even better. In this case, 50 cents a piece. And it's a great way for me to catch up on recent or current series that I'm not keeping up with new. And that list is growing as prices on new comic books continue to increase, where you're seeing not only $4, but really $5 and $6 for new issues now. So more and more things I'm waiting to try to find them through sales like this. So that's what we're going to look at today. I will put links to their store down below in case you want to check them out. But let me shift the angle around here and we'll show you these books. All right, we're going to start with two issues from Avengers Forever. These were actually sold as a bundle, and the sale was a little bit different on bundles. Whereas the single issues were 50 cents a piece, bundles were half off sticker price. In this case, there were two comics in the bundle. Sticker price was $5, which is a little bit lower than cover price, but then that was half off of this, which made the bundle $2.50, and then two issues. So it's really $1.25 per issue, still well within the range of prices I like to pay for back issues like this, but still not as good as 50 cents. And They do have a lot of bundles. I kind of wish they allowed you to break those bundles up or had more things as single issues. A lot of times for me, I might need one or two issues in a multi-comic bundle, but I don't need all of them. So it doesn't make sense for me to buy a bundle of 5 or 7 comics where I only need one or two, because then I'm just getting too many duplicates. In this case, I did go with the bundle because I needed both issues, which included number 13 and number 14. And these are helping me complete my Jason Aaron run on Avengers. He was writing both this 15 issue run and then the main Avengers ongoing that ran for 66 issues. And at this point, there was kind of a back and forth crossover going between Avengers and Avengers Forever. With this little bundle, I'm getting really close to completing his entire run. I think I just need 2 more issues, one from this tie-in series and then one from the main Avengers volume, and then I'll have everything by Jason Aaron on Avengers. So exciting that I'm getting really close to completing that. Here's a one-shot called Sons of X. This is part of the Krakoan era of X-Men, and within that, it was part of this branding called Before the Fall. The Krakoan era had several kind of key milestones throughout those titles and publications, including things like Dawn of X, Reign of X, Destiny of X. At the end, it was Fall of X. And this was just part of a small branding of one-shots and limited series, and even some of the main ongoings had this branding on it called Before the Fall, which I'm guessing they just set up the events that were taking place during the fall of X. I've been reading a lot of the Krakoan era in the form of Marvel Unlimited, so on an iPad, reading them digitally, but I'm still working on getting the print copies of these issues. And because they're X-Men, I do want to have all of them eventually. This is a nice hole that I was able to fill, and one I actually haven't read digitally yet, called Sons of X. And the idea here is that this story sets up the events of the Fall of X limited series called The Uncanny Spider-Man, which features Nightcrawler in a Spider-Man-esque costume. I can show you on the last page here. You can see the preview or the little teaser for Uncanny Spider-Man #1, that's what's coming next for Nightcrawler. I'm glad I had this issue because I've read the Uncanny Spider-Man limited series, but it refers multiple times in that series back to events that led to him putting on a Spider-Man costume and fighting crime in New York alongside Spider-Man sometimes. And I didn't know what was going on because I hadn't read this. But now that I have this, I can go back and read it to know what were the events that led up to that. So one more issue to help me build out my Krakoan X-Men era collection. Going to keep with Krakoa for several of these issues here. This is New Mutants Lethal Legion #5 of 5. This was a limited series that really continued the story of the New Mutants where it left off at the end of their ongoing series. During the Krakoan era, they had an ongoing series that ran for 33 issues, and then it was followed up by this 5-part limited series. I just never picked any of those up new. There's just frankly too many X-Men titles to keep up with. And so even for some things, I started out getting a lot of things new, and then I drop off and really prioritize on what my favorites are going to be, or my essential must-have issues every month to have new. And then everything else, I just kind of hope that I can piece it together via the back issues. And this was one of those that I said, you know what, I'll just try to pick it up at some point. And this is my first issue into that limited series. Now I've just got to find issues 1 through 4. This one I kind of laughed that I picked it up, not because there's anything funny about it. It's a really cool cover, but with this limited series called Exterminators, I got that originally because I liked the namesake of this. It kind of harkens back to a team name that was used during the original Inferno event from the 80s, and so I thought I would like this limited series. It features a bunch of the women X-Men or X-Women that go on some adventures there throughout this limited series. I got all of them via the back issues, like dollar bins and things, and so I've got the whole limited series. But it seems I keep stumbling across additional variants that are cool looking, and so I just have to laugh because I keep picking up these variants that I didn't know existed. This one is an Arthur Adams cover, and love Arthur Adams art. And it also features Laura Kinney, the not so new Wolverine anymore. She just uses the name. But I thought that was a great cover, so I had to pick up that variant for just 50 cents. And then I made some progress on some of the ongoing series from the Krakoan era of X-Men. This is X-Force. It ran for 50 issues in total. One of those examples that I started getting it new and then I stopped buying it new and just trying to finish it out now in the dollar bins. I'm not quite there, got probably a handful of issues still to go, but I did make a few issues of progress as a result of the sale, including issue 32, 37, and 42. I'm most interested to get towards the end of this volume and read the story about Beast when he goes really kind of full on Dark Beast again, and then there's a whole questionable thing they do to him at the end of X-Force, and now he's, the other side of that with the new From the Ashes era of X-Men. But looking forward to reading that story. But right now, just kind of continue to piece together the single issues to complete that run. Also made some progress on this ongoing series, X-Men Red. There were 3 kind of primary titles for X-Men during the Krakoan era, or at least the latter part of the Krakoan era, I should say. One was the X-Men title proper, and then there were 2 others that were kind of significant in the aspects of the story they told. One was called Immortal X-Men, which focused on the characters of the Quiet Council. That was the name of the ruling council for Krakoa. And Immortal X-Men covers their story and puts that in the spotlight. And the other one is this title called X-Men Red, which focuses on the characters, primarily Storm and some others, who are on Mars, which was terraformed by the mutants and renamed Arakko. And X-Men Red focuses on their story. And both X-Men Red and Immortal X-Men ran for 18 issues each. I've read them now, but I don't have all the single issues, so I'm still trying to piece those together. And for X-Men Red, I picked up that variant cover to number 11, and then number 13, and I thought there were more, but I guess that's it for X-Men Red. But then one other Krakoan era book I did pick up was this X-Men Annual. I like the idea of annuals, but I don't want to pay $5 cover price for a one-shot, essentially. So I look for these in the dollar bins or at sales, and so I was really happy that I could find this annual for just 50 cents. So those are my Krakoa era progress from this sale. And then the other significant thing I picked up at this sale was this series here called Nocterra. This is an Image title that ran for 16 issues plus a number of one-shots. And I never got any of these new, but it always kind of kept catching my eye when I would see the covers and the creative team and the concept. So covers are largely done by Tony Daniel, who's also the interior artist. And it had some really cool variants to a lot of the covers as well. But this is written by Scott Snyder, who I have come to know and like because of reading at least the first part of his run on Batman. So the creative team was appealing to me. Like I said, the cover art was a draw, and then the concept was intriguing as well. The idea here is that Earth has gone dark. No sun, no stars to light the night sky. Everything has been plunged into darkness. And the story picks up really 10 years after that event. And we don't know at the beginning of this story what caused that darkness to come about to begin with, but everything has gone dark. And not only that, but all of the animals of Earth have been mutated and transformed into these really hideous creatures. They've been kind of breeding together, making these hybrid animals, and they're all kind of like shade versions of their former selves. And of course, they all want to kill you because that's what happens when things get dark. Everything wants to kill you. And to fight the darkness, you need to have light, and you need to have sources of light all the time, 24/7. And this character here, she's the main character, Valerie. She is a ferryman. She drives a big rig, an 18-wheeler, and it's very well lit. And she ferries people from point to point across this grid of scattered human civilization. And that was an intriguing concept to me, so I wanted to piece this together. And as a result of this sale, I've now been able to complete this limited series. So I got the Val Special, which is a one-shot. And then there's issue 12, a J. Lee variant of 12. 13, very cool cover there. 14. 15. Another one-shot called Nemesis Special. Very cool cover again. And then a variant to that Nemesis Special. Here's issue 16, the final issue in the series. And then a variant to number 16. So really happy to complete this entire series. And I have now given it a full read, end to end, all the one-shots and everything. And my honest opinion, it was okay. I think I was more excited for what it was going to be than what it was. And it started out really cool, and then where it went left something to be desired for me. It wasn't bad, it just wasn't awesome. I don't like to poo-poo stories, but the concept is still really cool. I still love the art, love the covers, and you can see I got numerous variants in there, and hard to pass those up when they're just 50 cents a piece. But have any of you collected and read this series? Let me know what you thought of it. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Did you find it just kind of mid? But let me know your thoughts down below. I will say that as a result of reading this and not really loving it, I don't think I'm going to hold on to it. I'm going to let this one go, because even though I'm not completely pressed for space in my comic book room here, I don't want to hold on to things just to hold on to them. I really want to hold on to it because it's got some level of significance for me. And maybe somebody will enjoy this story more than I did. So I will let this one go, but I am really glad that I was able to piece it all together, read it all, and to be able to complete it for a really decent price. Because you can see I didn't spend more than $1 for any issue in this run. So really happy to do that, and it still feels good to complete that run like that. This is a book with a story. This is New Mutants number 98. You can tell by the price here of $3.99 that this is the facsimile. This book's significance is because with this acquisition, I have now completed my New Mutants run of Volume 1. I have all 100 issues, 1 to 100. I don't have all the annuals yet, so that, if you're a true completist, you might say I need to have the annuals in order to call this run complete. But the main series itself is now complete with this acquisition. And I had to laugh when I bought it, and it kind of gives me a sense of satisfaction as well. But buying this issue is funny because I was collecting New Mutants back when this issue came out in the early 90s. And so I was getting these new each month. And in fact, I started collecting New Mutants somewhere in like the mid to late 80s. And as a result of that, I have some of the keys that I was able to buy for cover price, including Cable's first appearance in New Mutants 87. I have a couple copies of that. And then I was buying the other issues of New Mutants as well, because I was reading X-Men and the various tie-ins. And I was liking Rob Liefeld and Todd McFarlane, all the guys who eventually went off to start Image Comics. But the funny thing about it is that when this came out and introduced this new character, Deadpool, I didn't buy it. I skipped right over it. I bought 97, didn't buy 98, and I bought 99 and 100. And I remember seeing this new character and really being unimpressed. I just wasn't interested at all in this new character. And so I didn't have any desire to spend the buck 25, whatever it was, cover price was for comic books at the time. I didn't buy it. And of course, I kind of laugh and a little bit of regret now, of course, not having picked that up, given the value of that first appearance and how popular he's become. But at the same time, it is kind of testimony to really the pure way that historically comic books have been marketed and consumed by readers all over the world. And that's, if you like it, you buy it. If it's not something you think you're going to like, you don't buy it. And you're not always thinking at all about the value, present day or future value, of what that comic could be. It's just about the story, it's about the characters. And so there's a part of me that, even though I regret not getting it, there's a part of me that has that little bit of satisfaction, at least looking back to say, there was that innocence then of saying, you know what, I just liked the comic books. And if I didn't think I was going to like it, I didn't buy it. But at the same time, I am happy to now have a copy of this. And I'm really, really happy that I didn't pay market price for a original print of this book. I don't think I ever would. Really happy that I could say that I've got a copy of New Mutants 98. It is a facsimile, so I even have the ads and everything that were in the book originally. But I didn't even pay cover price of $4. I got it for 50 cents. And so really happy to complete the run, and really happy that I didn't cave and buy an original copy. Now, is that to say that if I ever saw a copy of New Mutants 98 in a dollar bin that I wouldn't buy it? Of course not. I will definitely buy that all day long. But yeah, I just thought that was a kind of a funny story I wanted to share around completing this run and why it wasn't complete for me to begin with. Just a few more books to show you. This was a fun accidental find. I didn't know this existed. I have been able to piece together this, was it a 4-part or a 5-part limited series called The Last Ronin, through the dollar bins, thankfully. I did get the first issue, #1, new, but I didn't pay cover price. I got that discounted because I pre-order all my new books online. So I didn't even have to pay cover on that one. But the others I've been able to get via the dollar bins. But then I came across this called the Design Archive. And it's just all bonus material. It shows you concepts for the different characters and just a cool little bonus feature to add to that story and to flesh out that future world of the turtles. That's a cool cityscape shot there that I thought was really fun to be able to find for 50 cents. And I compared this. This material is not in this. This is an oversized version of The Last Ronin in hardcover that I got because I don't have the complete limited series. And I don't know that I'll ever find the complete series. And I wanted to read it. And because I love the turtles and because I love the oversized artwork format, I did go ahead and get this on sale last year sometime. So I thought I would just pull this out and show you. But this doesn't really have any bonus material in it. It's mostly just the series. And then you got an afterword, and then you've got a bunch of the variant covers. But that's all you get in this. They did a second version of this that had a white cover, and I want to say it was called like the director's cut. And that had a bunch more bonus material in the back, including the material that's in this design archive. It has even more than that, but it does include this. So I feel like between having this hardcover and having this design archive, I'm a lot closer to having all the material that's in that director's cut. But just still, just a fun little way to kind of build out that world of The Last Ronin. And in case you can't tell, the Last Ronin story was printed in oversized format to begin with. So we'll put it next to this New Mutants 98. You can see it's about a finger width taller, and well, not any. It's a little bit wider than a standard comic book, but nice to get that little bit different format for the Last Ronin story, even if you get the single issues. But just a fun thing as well to find for 50 cents when the cover price was $8.99 for that. Ouch. Really nice when you can find it for 50 cents. And now we come to the last few books that I want to show you. This is a Batman series called Batman One Dark Night, 3-part limited series under the label DC's Black Label, which from what I understand is basically like not a what if per se, but they're one-off stories. They're not connected to the main continuity of what's going on in the regular ongoing series of Batman. So they're just one-shots or limited series that allow creators to tell different stories featuring some of DC's iconic characters. I don't generally collect these, but at the sale, they had 2 of the 3 issues from this One Dark Night story, and the cover jumped out at me on this one, written and drawn by Jacques. I want to say Jacques, but I think it's just Jacques. And a really nice art style that works well for Batman. These first couple pages don't exemplify it well because they're just super, super dark. But Killer Croc looks, sorry for the glare, Killer Croc looks really cool there. And I just thought the art was really nice. And the price was hard to beat at 50 cents an issue. So I went ahead and grabbed those, and then obviously didn't read them because they had issues 2 and 3. That's a cool page there. But I don't want to show you the end in case it spoils anything. But I got issue 3 and I got issue 2. And this was one of those buys that was a gamble. I have never seen these books for sale in the back issue bins, period, let alone seeing them sold for 50 cents a piece. And I knew I didn't want to pay cover price, which on these is what? What is cover price on one of these issues? $6.99, so $7. Didn't want to pay cover price. And I didn't even have the first part of the story. So it was kind of a gamble to say I'm going to buy parts 2 and 3 and then wait and see. And so I waited and I looked and I never saw other Black Label books at any time. But then at a different sale, at a different store, I came across one book of the Black Label variety, and it was in a dollar box, and it just happened to be Batman One Dark Night issue number 1. And I couldn't believe it. You know, of all the books to find for $1, this was the one Black Label book that was there for $1, and it's the one I needed. And so I was super happy to pick that up. And so for a total of $2, I got this whole series, and then I gave it a read, and it was a good story, I'd say. I did enjoy this story. It is not a brand new story, but it's still cool because it's Batman. The idea here is that there is this prisoner, EMP, that they're transporting from, is he going from Arkham to a different prison? But they're transferring him between locations, which involves him going across Gotham. And I think there's a map here, maybe somewhere in the beginning. But they're gonna move this prisoner, and that's huge high risk move. And so Batman is monitoring from the air. There you go, there's the map. So they're moving him up here from Arkham down to Blackgate Island. And of course you can imagine it doesn't go well. And he gets out, and then the whole city goes black. And basically every gang in Gotham is out to get these two, either to kill him or to help him. And so Batman's job in this is get to EMP and get him safely to Blackgate. And so it takes place over these 3 issues, all in one night, one dark night. And yeah, it's just a well-drawn, well-written story. And if you can come across this for cheap, I definitely would recommend picking this up. If you like Batman, you like that kind of story, and Batman being pushed to his limits physically, and just no matter what he faces, he's able to keep going. But really cool story, really cool art, and a really cool story on how I got these, because again, bought 2 and 3, didn't know if I'd ever find book 1, and then boom, there it is. So, when you can pick up issues for cheap, I recommend doing it, even if you don't think or know if you'll ever find the others, because you might be surprised. And I would have really been kicking myself if I didn't get issues 2 and 3 at 50 cents a piece. And then down the road, I found issue 1, because I'd be like, oh man, I'm not going to find those issues 2 and 3. They're not going to be there anymore. So now I took the gamble, and it really paid off, and really happy for it to have been able to add that to my collection. All right, that's going to do it for me. And that's going to wrap up this 50-cent haul from Dreamer's Vault. I do hope you saw something that you liked, and if you did, go ahead and give the video a thumbs up. And if you want to see more content like this, dollar hauls, 50-cent hauls, really anytime I find good books for great prices, then hit that subscribe and ring the bell for notifications so you'll know the next time I upload a video. Now, if you're not quite ready for the YouTube fun to stop, I have hand-selected a couple videos here for you to check out. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.